Building with a flashing sign. The National Theatre is made up of 3 separate theatres. We have the Littleton, Dorfman and the 1400-seater Laurence Olivier theatres. Described by leading architects to be one of the ugliest buildings in London, King Charles once stated in an interview that the National Theatre resembles the back end to a nuclear power station. So clearly not very impressed. We're going to cross back over to our left now, where just ahead of us we will see a large white boat with a cream funnel. This is the Wellington, once a sloop in the Royal New Zealand Navy. She served throughout the Second World War, where she would patrol the coast of New Zealand and the waters of the South China Sea. And after the war, she was decommissioned, brought onto our river, where she's sat here ever since as a big floating drinking hall for retired sea captains. And for many years, the president of this club was Prince Philip, the former Duke of Edinburgh, of course our late Queen's husband. Look to the back of the Wellington here, in amongst the trees, a large stone archway. This is the Temple Gate, the official dividing boundary between 2 cities. We have the city of Westminster, which we are just leaving, and the 1 square mile city of London that we've now entered. Now, not a lot of people know this, but London itself is one of the smallest capital cities in the world. It covers an area of 1 square mile, extending from the Temple Gate here, all the way along this north side of the river, which is on the left, down to Tower Bridge. And you'll know that you're entering into the City of London as you'll walk by large silver griffin statues. There are 2 just over there on the left-hand side. And these silver griffins, they are said to ward off and prevent evil from entering into our city. I can tell you now though, folks, this is a lie. Those statues, they do not work. I know this personally, and that's because my ex-girlfriend, she actually walks past those 2 statues every day on her way into work. They clearly do not work very well, folks. Now, just here on your right, we've got a red brick building with a stone spire, glass letters, OXO. This is the OXO Tower, former headquarters and factory for the OXO company. They would render meat products, turn them into gravy stock cubes, which you'd like to have for our Sunday roast dinners. And every night, a red light will shine in this tower, and you're able to see the word OXO lit up all across the banks of the river, effectively advertising the company's products. You're not allowed to do this on the Thames though, folks. The river is deemed a royal highway. It's illegal to advertise on its banks. After a very lengthy court battle, the OXO company, they won. Today the building is a grade 2 listed structure, so it can never legally be demolished. The exterior has to remain unchanged. Of course, no longer a factory today. We have shops on the bottom floor, unaffordable luxury apartments in the middle, and on the top floor you'll find a 5-star Harvey Nichols restaurant. But just over here to our left, a white building with a green roof and spire. That's the site of the old City of London School for Boys. Over the years, lots of our former Prime Ministers have been educated in the building. Prime Ministers such as Sir Anthony Eaton, Lloyd George, and even Sir Winston Spencer Churchill. Now, if you have a look between the 5 archway windows of the building, we're going to see figures carved into the stone. Some of England's most notable scholars: John Milton, Sir Isaac Newton, Sir Thomas More, the one on the end there holding the football, David Beckham. Of course, I'm only joking, folks. Can't be David. He never went to school. The last statue is William Shakespeare. Now, we're just about to pass under Blackfriars Road Bridge, opened by Queen Victoria back in 1869. As we pass under the bridge though, folks, On either side of us here, we have 8 red support columns, and these are the remains to the Alexandra St Paul's railway bridge. The first railway crossing to be built over the river used to support the Chatham and Dover railway lines. The top half of the bridge became unstable in the 80s and it was demolished. Passing through the Blackfriars Railway Bridge now, you can see it's been widened. It was widened in 2012. A new station was built on top of the bridge, Blackfriars Station. The only one in London you can access on both sides of the river. As we pass under the bridge though, here on our right we have the South Bank, the area of Bankside, mostly arts and entertainment to find over here today. But back during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, this was London's red light district. You would have found bear baiting pits, cockfighting pits, riverside taverns, theatres and houses and dens of horizontal pleasure, all built on land owned by the Bishop of Winchester. We're going to see a large brick building here on the right with the tall chimney stack. This is the old Bankside power station. It was built in the 1940s. It used to burn oil to generate electricity. Of course, we all know how expensive oil is today, so this was one of the first power stations in London to be shut down. Now serves as the home for the Tate Modern Art Gallery, which is completely free to enter. But after you walk around the building for about 5 minutes, you do tend to understand why. Inside, you will find exhibits such as unmade beds, light bulbs that flicker on and off, and piles of empty beer cans. If anyone on board the boat is interested in seeing anything like that, you're more than welcome to come round my house. Now, we're going to try and stop here as quick as we can, folks. We'll be straight in and straight out, so we can continue on with our cruise and the commentary down to Tower Bridge and Greenwich. Thank you. Performing their plays in the original Globe Theatre that stood nearby in Park Street. For some strange reason, the original Globe didn't have any dressing rooms. Passing under Cannon Street Railway Bridge now. As we pass through this bridge, if we look ahead of us and to our right hand side again, we're going to see a real life pirate ship in wedlock, a fully working replica to Sir Francis Drake's galleon of the Golden Hind. Now, Sir Francis Drake, he was a privateer. He sailed around the world under the secret orders of Queen Elizabeth I. He was also the first Englishman to do it. He'd done it in about 3 years. Now, upon his return, he brought his ship back completely full of Spanish gold. The gold was gifted to the Queen and then used to clear the country's national debt. It was knighted at the Queen's Stairs in Deptford. The ship we can see there today is a replica, but it has been around the world twice, taking the exact same passage that Drake would have took. And ahead of us here, this next bridge, this is London Bridge. A London bridge has stood on, or very close to this site, for almost 2,000 years. The first one built by the Romans in 43 AD. But the bridge that we have here today is the fourth one, opened by Queen Elizabeth II back in 1973. But the bridge previous to this one, the third London Bridge, it was sinking into the river, was taken down stone by stone and sold to an American businessman, Robert McCulloch, for £1 million. It was then rebuilt over the man-made Lake Havasu at the edge of the Arizona desert in America. Now, as we pass through London Bridge, folks, if we take a look over here to our left-hand side, shortly to come into view, between the gap in between these two buildings, we're going to see a tall white column with a golden top piece. And this is the monument to the Great Fire of London of 1666. It was designed by Sir Christopher Wren to resemble a wax candle. If you were to lay the monument down in an easterly direction, which is the direction we're travelling in, the golden top piece strikes the point where the fire started, which was once a small baker shop in Pudding Lane. Take a look up and to your right hand side here, a very tall glass skyscraper, the Shard, the tallest building in Western Europe, standing 1,016 feet high, designed by an Italian architect called Renzo Piano. Now inside the Shard, folks, you will find bars, restaurants, office space, apartments, even a 7-star hotel, the Shangri-La. Up on the 72nd floor, there's a viewing gallery. To go up there though, folks, you will be charged almost £40 per person just to get in a lift and look out of a window. But here on our left we have another skyscraper, not as tall as the Shard of course. This one gets wider as it gets taller. Number 20 Fenchurch Streets, also known as the walkie-talkie. If you look on the top floor there, where you can see all the people walking about, there's a botanical garden. It's called the Sky Garden of London. That's free to go up to. You do have to book it online in advance, however, and you'll find 2 bars and a restaurant up there. So with the £40 that you save by not going in the Shard, you'll be able to get yourself half a lager and a packet of pork scratchings, if you're lucky. Now just on the right here, we've got London's very own warship, C-35, HMS Belfast, a Southampton class cruiser. She was built in the same shipyards in Northern Ireland as the Titanic. She finished construction in 1938 and was commissioned for war in 1939. She served throughout the Second World War and the War of Korea in the 1950s. Today, she's permanently moored in London as a floating maritime museum and a testament to British sea power. And alongside the Belfast, you'll see all of these big circular things, these are fenders. She's also used as a London cruise line terminal as well. So later on today, by the looks of it, a smaller cruise ship or a warship is going to come through Tower Bridge and be tied up alongside the Belfast.